So I had a different video planned for this week, but the morning of the day of filming I got an email. Quite a fascinating email. Some of you may describe it as hilarious, others outrageous, and for me, certainly as a secondary market dealer, quite shocking. It was specifically from Goldsmiths, a major Watches of Switzerland Group jeweler and specifically Rolex authorized dealer. Now I've bought a couple of Rolexes at retail before, so I guess I'm on their mail list, but this one caught my eye because guys, this was a price list of the Rolex certified pre-owned program, and the accountant in me just couldn't help but dissect those figures and just for fun compare with current grey market prices and trade prices. And well, I will let you be the judge on where the program stands today. Hi guys, I'm Vinny, welcome back. Now I am sure that you'll be expecting me as a secondary market dealer to be shouting from the rooftop that the grey market is the way to go because it is considerably cheaper and you'd have to be stupid to buy from the certified pre-owned program. But I must admit there is now a growing movement amongst enthusiasts and collectors in favour of the certified pre-owned program. This is because it offers many great benefits, mainly the fact that there is 100% absolute assurance that what you're buying is original and authentic, and against the backdrop of many scandals we've seen in the grey watch market over the last year, it seems an almost palatable option. And of course there is a select few group of people to whom paying 30% above the grey market doesn't matter to them because they are very wealthy and they won't miss that kind of money. It also, as a program, I believe is here to stay. It is absolutely here to stay because for authorized dealers it is improving their image. It is improving their image because people are walking into Rolex ADs wanting a Rolex, and there is now a choice there to potentially walk out of that authorized dealer with that Rolex that they wanted. Yes, it's going to be considerably more. Yes, it's not going to be brand new, but it provides them with that option rather than just having to say no, which over the last few years I do believe has damaged Rolex's brand. Now Rolex has been relentlessly growing the CPO over the last 18 months with 33 authorized dealers at least now onboarded and over 3,600 Rolex watches available. The big three in Rolex CPO are Bucherer in Europe, Tonneau in the United States, Watches of Switzerland on both sides of the Atlantic, and the 1916 company in the US. The 1916 company draws on previous pre-owned watch trading experience, and it does seem that their prices actually sit below anybody else in the Rolex certified pre-owned program. So it is the case where Rolex themselves are not setting the CPO prices, rather the authorized dealers. Now there was a study carried out back in January by Morgan Stanley to really investigate at what sort of percentage above the grey market their CPO prices lie. The Tonneau group sit at around 30% above the grey market, Bucherer the same, Watches of Switzerland in the US at a hefty 39%, Watches of Switzerland UK 33%, and the 1916 company at plus 17% above the grey market. So let's get back to that email then and have a look at those prices of the certified pre-owned program here in the United Kingdom. Let's kick this off with the first watch on this list, which is a 2017 GMT Master 2 Batman. Now the price they're asking for this is £15,550, which at first glance I thought that was quite hefty because these can be found, guys, on the grey market advertised at £11,500. That is a delta or difference above the grey market of 26%. And we've also got to consider as well, guys, what is the secondary market trade value for this watch? What would a dealer on the grey market be willing to pay you for that watch if you wanted to get rid of it? We may wear a watch for a year or a few months even, we'll get bored of it and we'll want to try something else out. So selling these watches to grey market dealers is a genuine situation that many of us find ourselves in. So what is this worth at trade, guys? This is a £9,500 watch. So if you buy that at CPO at £15,550, you're going to be losing over £5,000, which really means, guys, you know, if you're going to buy from CPO, I think from that example alone we can see, be prepared to keep it. Let's have a look at the next watch then. We've got a GMT Master 2 in two-tone. This is a 2011 example, which the CPO is politely asking for a hefty £14,450. Now, I've had a look at some of the available watches that you can find right now in stock on the grey market. You can pick one of these up for £10,400, guys, which is a delta or difference of 28%. Trade value on this, again, considerably lower. A dealer would pay you around £8,200 for this. The next watch on this list is an Oyster Perpetual 39. This particular one is with the grey dial. Now, I've always thought that these 39s were underrated. You know, when they were in production, and it was for quite a while, no one was really interested in them. They were seen as the entry point in the brand, and then of course they were discontinued. They introduced the 41mm version with all those lovely different array of colour options, and it became the sort of poster boy at one point. Now, my personal favourite of this bunch was the red grape dial. These now are quite rare to come by that haven't been polished. From a collector's point of view, this is going to be a highly collectible watch, and those can be found for around £7,500, which is great value for money, I believe. But anyway, back to this particular one. The CPO are asking £8,350, and on the grey market, actually, you can find an unworn 2020 version, even better, even newer, for £5,650, which is a delta of 34%. So a dealer would probably only offer you around £4,500 for that. The next watch on this email I want to look at is a beautiful 1993 no date sub 14060. If you're familiar with the new Watches and Wonders releases, you will see that Tudor have pretty much brought back a 100% copy homage of this piece with all the same dimensions and those thinner lugs as well. The CPO program are asking £9,850 for this, which, to be honest with you, at first glance I didn't think was too bad, but when you have a look at the grey market, you could find one of these pieces at £8,500. But look, this particular piece, it seems, has been very nicely finished. It is quite original in its case form. I've seen so many of these that have been polished that many times that you can't even tell it was an oyster case before. This particular example that I'm comparing it to on Chrono 24, you know, it's absolutely horrendous how that's been refinished so many times. That, I suppose, is one thing that you get with CPO. They are in the position to really reject shitters. They're in the position to buy the best pieces that they come across and then, of course, finish it or refinish it to their, I'd expect, exacting high standard. Because this is a neo-vintage piece, it's getting into sort of becoming vintage. There are many of these with non-original parts or even aftermarket parts I've seen before. In this case, you know, it probably is worth the 18% more that you'd be paying for this watch in comparison to the secondary market. So let's have a look at the next watch then on this email, and it is an original Air King 116900. This particular one for sale is a 2018 example with a price tag of £7,750. Now, guys, I've got to be honest, there are hundreds and hundreds of these watches available. Nobody wants them. Grey market dealers are really struggling to sell them and have been for quite a while. They never really took off. And I say that as an Air King owner myself. You know, this is the new 126900 reference, a far better example, superior in every way. It's been refined to almost perfection and is great value for money. Now, you can pick these up at the authorized dealer with a small weight, so I highly advise that you do that. But for these older references, guys, £7,750 is just far too much money. You can pick these up on the grey market for £5,995 I've seen, but likely even less. So that is a difference of 23%. Next up is a vintage Submariner Day in steel and gold. The CPO is asking £12,450 for this. I've had a look online quickly and I can see them for £10,250, so with a little bit of negotiation you could get this below the £10,000 price, and a great trade price for this I think would be around £8,400. For me, this is probably a watch that you're better off going grey for, but again, CPO is really giving buyers the confidence to go vintage, to be confident in buying vintage watches, because there's so many different nuances with vintage pieces and problems that if you're not experienced, you're not an avid collector, that you wouldn't be aware of. If you're going CPO, there is that peace of mind, I suppose. The next watch on this list is a Datejust 41mm in steel and rose gold. Now this particular example is the less popular version on an oyster bracelet. Yes, it has the Wimbledon dial, but honest to God, you can find these at most authorized dealers. You put your name down for one brand new and you should be able to get one within a few months. This is not a popular watch. The retail price on this watch is £12,500 for a brand new one, and yet the CPO is asking for one that is 5 years old £11,995. Honestly, it isn't worth it, and I think they really are perhaps taking advantage of people who want a watch and want it now. But the alternative is, of course, you go grey. You could pick one of these up for £9,950, which is a delta of 21%. Trade value on this watch is now right down to £8,000, again, because it isn't one of the more popular. Everybody wants the Jubilee. Next up is a Yachtmaster 40, the 2017 example in steel and rose. The price tag on this is £15,550, and I have been able to find a 2022 example of one of these advertised on the grey market at £12,995. Just for your information, the trade value on this is around £10,000. Next up on that email is a very juicy Daytona, particularly a 116503 from 2018. This is a steel and yellow gold Daytona, one I had in my own collection for several years. It was a 2019 example, and I most recently sold that at trade to a secondary market dealer for £13,500. That was a full set in very good condition. What is the CPO asking for this? It is a whopping £21,700. You can find these at Grey Guys at £16,000 or maybe even less. It's such a massive difference still between the CPO and the grey market there. And finally, I have been saving the best one till last. It is the most popular Rolex watch perhaps of all time. It is the Rolex Daytona Panda. How much is CPO asking for this watch in a 2020 specification? It is a whopping £28,050. I love how they've added the £50 to that, almost as if 28,000 just isn't enough. It's just crazy. I mean, secondary market, you can pick these up, guys, for around £22,000, to be quite honest with you. That is a delta of over 20%, and at trade, a grey market dealer would be looking to pay around £19,000 for one of these. So, you know, if you buy that, as with all of the others, and you're looking to trade it on, you're going to be losing a hell of a lot of money. And that concludes this list for now. We will be doing more of these because I think this is really important consumer advice. If we weigh that up compared to that Morgan & Stanley report that we saw at the beginning of the year, where in the UK, Watches of Switzerland Group were at 33% on average above the grey market. Now, I think we can see from there is an average of around 20%. So that is a lot more palatable for more collectors. So it will be fascinating to see over the months and years how much closer they come to the grey market prices at CPO. For me, as a secondary market dealer, I'm not yet in a position, and I know that a lot of others aren't in the position, to be looking at the CPO program with any level of concern. I think there will be a level of concern when they come closer, perhaps around 10 to 15%. And when they do, I really do believe that then they will be part of the grey market rather than just existing in their own sort of market that they created themselves. For me, the CPO program was created, invented even, by Rolex to really take control of secondary market prices. It is, in my opinion, that they want to keep things like the Daytona and the GMT Master line artificially above the retail price on the secondary market, and the closer they come to grey market prices, I think eventually they will grab us, and we will have to look at CPO as a barometer of where to set our prices. Anyway, guys, go check out beatthewaitlist-watches.com. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.